EA is looking to sell itself or merge with another company. This comes from GameSpot.com. Electronic Arts is reportedly pursuing a sale or merger, and it's claimed that the video game publisher and developer has held talks with Disney, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast. And then also NBC Universal over a possible deal.
Some random
a lot of
companies
people
to
are
sell
talking to.
Yeah.
A lot of people. According to the news site Puck via Video Games Chronicle, EA has been persistent in pursuing a sale, and at one point it looked like Comcast subsidiary NBC Universal would have merged with the gaming company, with Comcast CEO Brian Roberts running the combined entity. Quote, the general terms of the proposal, which lawyers and bankers for both sides negotiated for several weeks, would have seen the Roberts family take majority control of the combined entity, end quote. The report claims. In the configuration most seriously discussed, the company would have been run by Wilson. That deal eventually fell apart due to disagreements over price and structure. Neither Comcast nor EA have commented on the report. The report also claims that Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard for a staggering sum has been the main driver of EA's desire to sell itself. It's funny to me.
It was $73 billion.
Yeah, but I'll touch on that in a second. Others say that EA is primarily interested in a merger arrangement that would allow EA CEO Andrew Wilson to remain as chief executive of the combined company, the report added. When reached for a comment, an EA spokesperson told GameSpot, quote, we don't comment on rumors and speculation regarding to M&A. We are M&A, if that wasn't clear. We are proud to be operating from a position of strength and growth with a portfolio of amazing games built around powerful IP. By incredibly talented teams and a network of more than 500 million players. We see a very bright future ahead, unquote. So I read that quote, which one, fourth point, talking about this is in light of the Microsoft Activision acquisition. And I read that just as EA saying, yeah, we kind of just want to cash out.
Yeah. Not just cash out, but like, here's the thing. I know EA does not make like award-winning games, right? They're not talked about in the conversation when we're talking about the best games.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yes.
Not anymore.
But I think, James, that EA is in a great spot to be purchased. And let me tell you why. Let me try to explain this.
I'm interested.
I believe that these studios, such as Sony, or not studios, these companies, such as Microsoft and Sony, are buying companies not for exclusivity deals. I think everybody's expecting these companies to be bought for exclusivity deals. Now, Bethesda aside, because that is an exclusivity deal that Microsoft is definitely going to bring people to. I'm talking about Activision, like Activision Blizzard, and Bungie, to be some examples here. I think these two companies, Bungie and Activision, make games as service games. And they've both said that they're not going to be exclusive to Microsoft or exclusive to Sony. Destiny, going to be everywhere still. Call of Duty, going to be everywhere still for the next 3 years until that a decision gets made on there, because there's no decision yet. But these games have battle passes. They have in-game skins. They have this, and those all kind of filter up to the parent company to get more revenue, right? And I think that is going to make more money for them than doing it exclusive, because they're able to get money from every platform as a games as service game. So I think that EA has a lot of games in this form of a games as service thing, and they could be perfect to be purchased by one of these studios, even though it might not be like, oh, well, not FIFA anymore, because FIFA's doing its own thing and not with EA anymore.
Apex is EA, right?
Apex is Respawn, which is owned by EA. So yeah, if EA gets purchased, then Respawn gets purchased. That's Jedi Fallen Order. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of games on that too. But yeah, exactly. Apex, another great example. That is another subscription-based games as service type game. It's a battle royale, so it's a little bit different than like a Destiny, but it's still the same deal. Like, every couple months you have a new battle pass you can purchase and things like that. So I really do think that EA is very eligible for a purchase. I think that people would have eyes on them. What do you think?
I just don't see what EA has to gain from the acquisition.
Same thing the other studios would have to gain through the acquisition. Like, why would Activision sell?
Well, I think okay, so here's the thing with I'm gonna go with Bungie.
Yeah.
Right? Because Sony also has assets that Bungie wants because of
Yep.
the two mediums of the Bungie show.
Yeah.
Or Bungie show, the Destiny show.
Yeah.
And also because Destiny is an expanding game.
Right.
Right. It feels like it's always growing. They're always iterating, things like that. And it's becoming a game that's going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I guess I see the systems of a game like Destiny changing a lot more than a game like Apex.
Yeah. That's true.
In addition, this is a little bit of a weirder thing than Bungie to me too, because EA has so many different titles and so many different games that are under it. So it'd be difficult for me to say like, okay, well, like this is what it's really putting all of it. This is the basket that they're putting all their eggs into.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see where that is. I don't see what particular project they would want their funding from, either like Disney, Apple, Amazon, Comcast, NBC Universal to like pour their money.
That's the question
into.
here. He's like,
these are also very oddball companies to buy EA.
Like Disney, they have deals with for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I guess, but Disney's not going to become I mean, they're not a publisher. Or they are a publisher by kind of, but they don't publish games necessarily. It's always another studio that partners with Disney to publish the game, right?
Here's a question. Does the deal go down like this, where EA goes to Disney and says, listen, like, you guys don't publish games, like, let us give you that opportunity to build that repertoire of like publishing games so that you can start going into the games industry. And so Disney just becomes even more like an industry giant spanning across not only film but games too.
I mean, let's also think about this. A couple more points here. Remember EA, that earnings call where they said they have like 4 live service games in development that we don't know about? Ubisoft and EA both had earning call where they were like, the next couple years is all going to be games of service. That could be something they're looking at. We know EA is not doing amazing. Like their year this year was what? Riders Republic, Battlefield 2042, which is technically another games of service because it has battle passes and stuff like that too that you can buy over time, like a lot of in-game purchases. But like, I don't know. I think there's a lot that could come, and if EA is not doing as well as they used to do, maybe they think that this big money from a bigger company might fund their next projects and stuff. It's not like they would sell and fire everybody and have other people fill in. It's like they would sell and then just have them make the corporate decisions on some things that they would have usually made. I don't know. I don't really understand all the inner workings of like what the sale could possibly mean. But this is just from like me seeing the other acquisitions being like, oh, okay, that's what this kind of could be. It's what it's looking like to me. I don't know. Yeah.
In order for this to be about gaming and receiving funding for gaming or a gaming project or another live service game.
Yeah.
I don't see a merger in which Comcast CEO Brian Roberts running it in the cards.
No.
If this was about gaming, they would want to maintain the EA CEO Andrew Wilson would want to remain chief executive.
Yeah, I don't see them selling to any of these ones that we talked about: Disney, Apple, Amazon, Comcast. Amazon has Luna. We haven't really heard anything about that in a long time. Disney and Apple don't really do games, even though Apple is over, and every year they're like, we're getting into gaming. Haven't heard a peep out of them. I would think this goes to a Microsoft or Sony or something like that, if they do get sold eventually. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. And it's not like they do... EA gets licensed deals with big properties. It's not like they create things with big properties. You know, like their Star Wars stuff, or it's not like they're creating.
They don't create original big properties.
No. It would be Battlefield. Battlefield would be their big property, but we all know how that's going right now.
Does EA still own BioWare?
Let me see. Does EA own BioWare? Yeah, in 2008, BioWare was acquired by Electronic Arts. Yeah, because Anthem.
Because I know Mass Effect has been, like, they're going to put in a new Mass Effect, and that's an original property.
Yep, that's true. That's a big property.
Unless it existed outside of EA as BioWare, and they just picked that up because they wanted Mass Effect under their belt as a property.
So in 2008, Electronic Arts paid $860 million for BioWare, which
Okay.
that's pretty crazy. But here's the final thought I have about this is like EA is gigantic. They have a sports category.
Yeah,
they
they're
have
huge.
Respawn. They have like all these BioWare, all these like little companies under it that are making games. But if you think of EA as a whole and what's actually being produced by EA and getting released each year for EA, it seems it's such a small number for the giant that it is, you know? Just like I know it's like last couple years, less games anyways, but like even the sports games, like now we don't have FIFA is not even in a EA anymore. Some of their major flagships. So maybe they really are struggling. I don't know. Could be crazy.
Yeah, I think EA still has a year or two to turn themselves in a good direction again, because I think it would be wrong of them to see the state of where their games were and what they tried to do, because we look at Battlefield 2042 and it not only released as kind of a broken mess, but it was also kind of their flagship live service, big AAA title.
Right.
And I think for them to look at that and say, oh, we just need a different sort of live service game doesn't really make sense to me, because a lot of people because they're also seeing the industry, right? You have the live service part too, but you also have these huge single player titles that are also doing really, really well in the gaming space. And so I think with development of a lot of the older projects that are kind of like you have Dragon Age and you have the new Mass Effect title as these two classic RPGs that are super like almost like old school, like they're like we haven't seen them in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Dragon Age since Inquisition. We haven't seen Mass Effect since Andromeda. And I think if they play their cards out, I think they could play those cards of
leverage
really
themselves
investing in their single player games and leverage themselves that way and say, okay, like we went in this direction and this didn't work out for anyone. So let's move in this opposite direction and see if it works better.
Yeah.
And I think if they pour their resources effectively into those titles, I think they could find more footing there, especially with like a lot of the not reoccurring, but the sort of like evergreen success of like Titanfall 2 as a single player shooter too.
Yeah.
I think Jedi Fallen Order and all these more single player experiences that they found a lot of success in, that I think it would be the wrong move to say, oh, well, we just need to like, these aren't enough. These aren't worth investing into. We really need to be upping our live service.
Yeah.
Game model.
Yeah.
Model, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to go back to this last comment that EA spokesperson said and saying we don't comment on rumors and speculation. And their statement that says we are proud to be operating from a position of strength and growth with a portfolio of amazing games built around powerful IP made by incredibly talented teams and a network of more than players. We see a very bright future ahead. That doesn't really indicate any sort of like acquisition.
Yeah, but would they want to? Would they want to even?
I don't know if like
to it?
From that, I don't know if they would, because I don't know if any of these. Okay, so say what I said was true, right? And they saw that change and went away from live service titles back into single player titles. Although they've already previously said like in the next like 2 years we're going to be like putting out live service games. Say we disregard that.
Okay.
I don't think any of these companies like Disney, Apple, Amazon, or Comcast, maybe with the exception of Disney, would invest into single player experience.
I don't know, but Disney's already doing single player experiences.
That's what I said, with the exception of Disney.
Yeah, Amazon's gonna want to do their cloud thing, which means get as many on board as possible, and so they would be doing a new, fresh multiplayer game. Comcast and Apple aren't even in the game yet. Like, we don't know what they're doing.
I have no idea what they're doing.
So, I don't know. Could be interesting. But guys, if you want to know all the latest on EA looking to sell itself, or if they sell, or anything else of that matter in gaming acquisitions, you can subscribe right here at Strictly Casual, or go check out the full podcast on audio platforms for free. The link is in the description. Please subscribe, hit us with a rating on there. It helps us out a bunch, and we'll see you guys on the next one.